Prepare yourself for the terror. The prison of madness, where few enter and none return.
Welcome to Unsung Horrors. With Lance. And Erica.
Leave all your sanity behind. It can't help you now.
Welcome to another episode of Unsung Horrors, a podcast where we review underseen horror films, specifically those with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. I'm Lance.
I'm Erica.
And it's been raining blood this month.
Yes.
April showers of blood. We are closing it out. But before we jump into this week's episode, or this episode, The Blood Rose, the film that I've selected, we have to talk about some very exciting news.
Yeah, I didn't do a lot of homework this week. Sorry.
No, it's very, very understandable. Yeah, the book has landed.
The book has finally landed. It is here. I no longer have a dining room, or a functional dining room, rather. But yeah, it's exciting. It's beautiful. Haunt Love knocked it out of the park with the layout and design. I'm proud of myself for picking the right paper thickness or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And everyone that was a backer, you will be getting a shipping notification this week.
Yeah, I'm not to rub it into anybody's face, but I'm smelling the book right now.
Yeah.
I'm thumbing through it.
You can brag even more and tell them what copy number you have.
I do. So the books are numbered, which is a great touch, great little personalized touch and stuff. And they're signed by the great Erica Schultz. This is book number 2 that I have of 1,000 copies. And it has a beautiful Peter Bark.
Yeah. And he did all the inspections. So yeah.
Yeah, he's rightfully so.
So if there's anything wrong with it, you can blame it on him, not me, for missing something in the editing phase.
Yeah, Haunt Love just killed it it's an amazing job. So listeners who back the book, I'm going to just give you a warning. When you receive this in the mail or either, locally, before you crack it open, be sure you're sitting on the toilet because you're going to shit when you see this. It is so gorgeous. I knew it was going to be great, but this is beyond imagination, and super proud of Erica. She's worked so hard on this. You've worked so hard on this. I don't know, I'm talking to you in third person, but it's so impressive, and it's deserved, and I can't wait for everybody to get their hands on their copy.
Thank you.
No, I just kind of want to talk about the book the entire episode.
We have a movie to cover. I love this movie. I want to get to talking about it, but before that, real quick, I do want to thank everyone in Austin that showed up on last Wednesday for the Weird Wednesday book launch screening of War Dog. I really appreciate everyone's support. It was really nice seeing some friendly faces there.
Yeah.
I'm awkward with strangers, so I put on a face, but
you were awesome. The introduction you gave was pro. Kudos to everybody that came out. Laird for putting that and programming that War Dog movie. But you were, again, I was so proud when you were up there. You were in your element and delivering on all fronts. It was awesome to watch. But yeah, that Weird Wednesday was a lot of fun. I'm glad it happened.
Yes. All right, but April Showers of Blood.
Yeah. I want to let's run through this episode. I want to get home and start reading this book. This is going to be a 15-minute episode.
This movie deserves.
I have a lot of notes actually.
Okay, good.
So especially with the cast and crew because it is a fun one.
Yeah.
So The Blood Rose. This could possibly be our last April Showers of Blood pick. Yeah. I think, I have a feeling we'll pick movies that might have blood in the title, but that can be open now year round.
Yeah.
Moving forward. So it's currently on YouTube, The Blood Rose from 1970. There's an English dub, a subtitled version, which we all prefer and we'll have in show notes.
Yeah.
As of this recording, it's sitting at 546 views on Letterboxd. Again, on the Letterboxd Just Watch list, it says it's on Tubi, but that is a different Blood Rose movie. It doesn't link to the right movie. I think you'll figure it out pretty quick.
I gave it 10 minutes.
Did you?
I did, because I was out of curiosity. It's fucking awful. I think What did I write? I wrote something in the Discord about it. I said something about like Danzig probably saw this or something like that because it looks like that kind of shit. And I'm like, oh God,
no.
it's just got that look of like the 2010s and beyond. I fucking hate how those movies look.
And you are selling it for me.
I know. Everyone wants to watch it because the 2010s is everyone's favorite decade for movies.
Yeah, and Danzig. I mean, that's an extra touch.
Don't shit on Danzig.
That's what I'm saying.
He's getting better.
He is getting better.
I believe in him. Everyone give Danzig your money so he can make another movie.
Yes, agreed. Okay, so the synopsis isn't completely original, following the plot of another French banger, Eyes Without a Face from 1960. But in The Blood Rose, a woman named Anne is badly scarred after having fallen into a bonfire at a party that she and her famous artist husband, Frederick Lam, are throwing. And the husband's ex-lover, Moira, shows up, jealous, and confronts Anne and pretty much causes her to fall into the fire. Frederick is heartbroken. He announces to everyone that his wife passed away. But while everyone believes she's dead, he's working with a botanist, Professor Romer, who was once a successful surgeon, but barred from practicing due to a child dying from an illegal procedure, which possibly involved a face transplant. Mm-hmm. So Romer and Lansac need to find a living woman to remove her face to transplant onto his wife so that she can be beautiful again and feel loved by her husband. So yeah, similar to Eyes Without a Face, an idea that's inspired a lot of ripoffs that I'm sure we'll talk about here in a bit. But there are a few things that set The Blood Rose apart from Eyes, like the two horny servants.
I love them.
They're little people, dwarfs.
Yes. Igor and Olaf.
And they take care of the chateau. They lived there before Lansac arrived.
And they wear like caveman togas.
They do. And that's what I was like, so they'd never, like, Lansac doesn't want to dress him up, but I feel like it might be trying to put like clothes on a cat or something. Like they're comfortable in what they wear.
Yeah.
It's who they are.
Yeah. The bald one, I kept calling him Michael Berryman.
Yes.
Because of course, like when you put him in that outfit and he's bald, I'm like, my mind automatically just goes to Michael Berryman.
Yeah. And also for some reason, Michael Berryman, he's a great actor. He's in a lot of great movies, but I always go to the Motley Crue video of it. And I start I'm like, here we go. But besides Igor and Olaf, there is a nurse, Agnes, however you say it, who's hired to care for the wheelchair-bound wife. And here are some spoilers. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it. Agnes is killed by Anne using a poisonous plant, and Agnes' sister, Barbara, worries about her, heads to the chateau to ultimately figure out what's going on with the professor, the husband, and disfigured wife. So I've already pretty much spoiled it for you, but we will get into more spoilers, obviously. So The Blood Rose was directed and co-written by Claude Mulo. He is a French director whose life and work was cut short at a very young age. He drowned while swimming in Paris in 1986 at 44 years old. This always reminds me of Jeff Buckley, who drowned swimming the mighty Mississippi. So when somebody dies young and kind of in their prime, it's a sad story.
Did he drown or did he get attacked by a shark? Because there's a movie coming out that is about a shark in the canal in Paris.
Oh, maybe it's inspired by Claude Mulo's
think it might be.
If the lead character's name is Claude, I'm going to lose my shit. But he did go by a pseudonym in some of his directing and writing credits. He went by Frederick Lansac, who is lead character in The Blood Rose. That's the name of the character, played by Philippe Lemaire. So he used his fake name mainly for a lot of the adult films that he wrote and directed. He started directing with horror films and thrillers, The Blood Rose being one of his earliest movies in 1970. And then in 1971, he wrote and directed Manhunt for Murder, also known as The Contract or The Bloodletting, another April Showers eligible title, which April Showers is no more. I watched this film and I really enjoyed it. It's about a young French waiter living in New York City, and he witnesses a murder and he's on the run. The police are after him, who, they believe he could have done it. The mafia are after him, who actually did the killing. And he heads back to France, and we watch him just paranoid, scared out of his mind as he tries to settle back into his hometown with his mom there and an ex-lover. And he's followed by a mafia hitman and this corrupt police, this cop, and they kind of work together to find him. It's just a great crime thriller. It's early 70s, has a lot of like that gritty New York City look while it takes place in New York, and has like this humorous, I mean, I found it humorous, but this such a downer of an ending, which we always love.
Yeah, I love it.
And the lead actor, he reminded me of an adult size Peter Bark.
Oh, shit.
It's like Peter Bark meets
connected.
Heath Ledger. It's weird. Like a Joseph Gordon-Levitt look. But I kept seeing Peter Bark in him, and I was like, I love this movie because of that. But Manhunt for Murder is really good. Mulo's first two straight movies, thrillers, Manhunt for Murder, The Blood Rose, were really strong, I felt like. But then he began writing and directing adult films after this, and he continued to do that for a decade. Mm-hmm. And I watched a few of them, and he was good at this as well. Very, very well done. Then he shifted back to straight dramas and thrillers in 1983 with Black Venus, about a sculptor who loses inspiration in his art, but he finds a muse in this mysterious woman who strangely appears to him. And then Mulo's last film, which is kind of a giallo of sorts, called Knife Under the Throat. Yeah,
I wanted to watch this, and time got away from me this week.
Yeah, I watched it. Well, I understand why time got away from me. You're busy. This was released in 1986, the year he passed away, and I watched it. First off, it's a fantastic title, Knife Under the Throat.
It's been on my Giallo January potentials list since 2020. So is it okay or?
It's great. Yeah, okay. It stars what's her name, Florence Gould, who's the lead in Luigi Cozzi's The Black Cat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It has Bridget LeHaye in it, and they go on and they work together in Faceless in 1988, which kind of this. But it's about a fashion model who's being stalked by this creepy killer. He calls her and he's like, I'm masturbating. I'm to your photo. People around her start dying, are murdered by a black glove killer. There's a lot of red herrings. It has this great opening of her, she's completely naked, but she's wearing a trench coat and she's just running through the city at night with these awesome credits being displayed. I mean, I highly recommend it, but there are a lot of gross characters, especially the men. They abuse all the women left and right, especially this fashion photographer named JB, who just drinks JB whiskey all the time.
Oh, okay.
And he loves to rape this particular model. There's a lot of rape scenes and everybody knows about it, but he just kind of gets away with it. But it's just really bizarre how most of the events don't really make a whole lot of sense as you're watching it. They're almost shot kind of in these weird segments. It's a linear story, but it's just intriguing how kind of disjointed it is at the same time, but it's leading somewhere. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
So I do recommend that movie. I think it was on probably some porn site that I watched. I don't know. Most of his movies are on porn sites.
Yeah.
Even though this
is that where you watched Pussy Talk?
Yeah, I watched Pussy Talk, and it's great. It's a hardcore adult film, and he used his Frederick Lam, his pseudonym for that movie. But the wife starts kind of losing control of her sexuality. She starts masturbating at parties. There's this woman who, she's married to this very kind of straight edge. I think he was like a politician or something. I forgot. But she starts losing control and just masturbating at parties. And he's like, what the hell's going on with you? And she's like, I don't know. And then her pussy starts talking. And it's this high, shrill, I'm sorry I'm saying pussy, but that's the name of the movie. Pussy Talks.
Fine, yeah.
It's this high, shrill, come on, let's fuck. Come on. It's very funny. It's obviously it's a comedy, a sex comedy, but hardcore.
Yeah. So it's like Chatterbox kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it has this great, this is Mulo, I think, doing this artistic look of the point of view of the pussy. And, it's the camera, and it had, there's scenes of the wife being fingered. So there's fingers going.
Wow. Okay.
There's even these fake hair around the camera.
Wow. Okay.
It's pretty disturbing. I mean, there's disturbing moments. It gets a little dramatic. The wife is I can't take this anymore. She tries to kill herself because the pussy's kind of running her life.
Sure.
And the pussy calls the husband. It's hey, your wife's trying to kill herself. Get the hell over here, you asshole. Oh my God. You never satisfy me.
Wait, is the receiver in the crotch? When
it is? I mean, it's not inside, but it's there.
Okay.
It's there
okay. That's fine.
But the crazy camera angles, it's good. And spoiler, I'm going to spoil it for everybody. In the end, the pussy talk is transferred to the husband, kind of like an Exorcist deal. So dick talk. Like, it's going to happen.
So speaking of talking genitalia, so Charles from Twitch of the Death Nerve was here. You know, he stayed here for the week. You got to meet him for the first time. Finally.
I did.
Yeah. It was funny because he was like, I didn't expect Lance to be so handsome. I expected Peter Bark.
Well, I already knew Charles was handsome.
Anyway.
I don't post a lot of pictures of myself.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Charles. Thank you.
So he was here all week. And aside from the books getting here, we're watching the movies. Like John's doing marathons and all that stuff. John found something and he was like, Erica, this is on your watch list. And it's called Talk to Me, Dickie. And it's a Hong Kong movie about a police investigator who is looking into some rapes that are happening. And he needs to learn how to talk to his dick to help him to solve the crime. And so he learns to talk to his dick, and there's actual conversations going on.
The dick talks back.
The dick talks back, but dicks can also talk to each other. So, like,
this is true.
If you have a dick and I have a dick, then they can talk to each other, but I can't hear your dick. So then my dick has to tell me what your dick said. Right? I love the talking genitalia genre. If there's any more out there, people, hit us up. We've got Chatterbox, Pussy Talk, and Talk to Me Dickie.
This is great. Yeah, no, there's got to be a list out there on Letterboxd.
I hope so. If not, Letterboxd, I'm deleting it right now. That list doesn't exist.
Pussy Talk and Talk to Me Dickie sounds like a double feature. Just that everybody should put together.
Let's call Lindsay. I'm just kidding.
So there isn't a whole lot of information on Claude Mulo. Like, I wanted more information on the drowning, like what was he doing, like, but I couldn't really find.
Telling you, shark attack.
I know we'll find more information when we watch that. He's very proficient in writing screenplays, usually comedies. He was a big part of the French erotic cinema. Like I said, he worked with Brigitte Lahaye quite a bit. Actually, her last adult film role, hardcore adult film, called French Sex Lessons, was made with Claude Mulo in 1980 or 1981. And I watched this one, and they're funny. It's a funny setup. She's like a madam at a brothel, and the police come and shut it down in the very beginning. And he like jokingly says something like, you're out of work. You should go back to school or something, or you should open a school. So she sits there and starts like, that's a great idea. Like months later. And she actually opens a school to teach women how to please their men or please their partner.
Okay.
Yeah, it's extremely hardcore. So she's like she goes to the front of the class and gives blowjobs, have sex with guys, and she's like discussing her techniques, and it's a lot of fun. So some of the students start doing it. She's like really like A+, like good job, Claudia. This is another spoiler. They all pass with honors.
Oh, good for them.
But yeah, French Sex Lessons. Like Claude Mulo wrote some pretty. I mean, I'd watch more of his adult films for sure because he puts a lot of humor in it, and the acting is actually a lot of fun to watch too. So there's other crew members involved in the Blood Rose, mainly working on other films that Claude Mulo did. So there's the screenplay that Mulo co-wrote with two other guys that pretty much only worked on other films with him that he made. So not much to talk about there. The cinematographer is Roger Fallou, who he also shot Buñuel's Diary of a Chambermaid.
I did watch this. I got around to this one mainly because you said there was a child death in it. So I did watch it for that. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a good scene, right? It's very dark.
It is dark. I was like, oh, like I can't remember how you framed it for me, but I was expecting something a little less of a downer. And I was like, oh, that's ew.
Yeah, I think because it has like snails on her legs, if I remember. It's very, very unsettling scene.
Yeah.
But Fallou also shot White Fire from 1984.
White Fire.
With the great Fred Williamson. We both recommend this one. Any other cast you wanted to talk about or had notes on?
I don't have any other notes on crew, no.
So the cast, there are a lot of recognizable faces. I'm just going to go ahead and start with one who we recently talked about. The star of Demon is on the Island.
Yeah.
Annie Dupe. She plays Anne, the woman who's badly burned and needing the face transplant. Her face isn't actually shown too much in this. It's a lot of point of view, kind of first person point of view angles with a blurry lens because she's losing her eyesight. But I'm gonna say to go back and listen to Demon is on the Island to hear us talk about Dupe.
Yeah.
Do that. We just talked about her recently. I remember I'm mentioning I wanted to watch The Blood Rose for Demons on Island, but I was like, yeah, I went to this terrible English dub.
Yeah.
Which is terrible. So I'm glad I came back to it. And the true star of the film, I would say, is Philippe Lumière, who plays Frederick Lam, the husband who's hiding his wife and trying to find a surgeon to do a face transplant for her. And he's fantastic in this. He's fantastic in everything I actually watched that he's been in, including some movies that I watched years and years ago. He has over 100 acting credits, starting his career in 1946. He acted in Silvia Amadio's film called Assassination in Rome in 1965.
Okay.
That's Smile Before Death.
Yes, of course.
I recently watched a Jess Franco movie called The Other Side of the Mirror, or The Obscene Mirror.
I wanted to watch this, and so did John. And again, this week has been a thing. I'm gonna get to this. I know Mondo Macabre put it out.
Yes,
so
and
I'll probably have to get a standard edition though.
It is amazing. It also stars Howard Vernon.
Yeah.
He's also in it. So Howard Vernon is a star in The Blood Rose. But yeah, definitely get to it because I loved this movie. It's all about atmosphere. It was definitely my favorite film that I've seen with Lumière in it. Emma Cohen is the lead, given I think one of the best performance, if not the best performance I've seen in a Franco film.
Yeah.
It kind of has all the atmosphere you expect from Franco, but it feels more like an Argento film to me.
That's a bold statement.
It is. Watch it. But it's about like this young girl who's engaged to be married, which breaks her father's heart, played by Howard Vernon. He's very creepy in it. So he kills himself. And she finds his body when he kills himself. He hangs himself. And she finds his body first seeing him in the reflection of a mirror.
That's a double. Oh, wait, spoiler.
It's a double.
Because Howard Vernon hangs himself in the obscene mirror, right?
Yeah, that's where I was like, this could be a double. This could be a Howard Vernon double feature.
Yeah, okay.
I had it on my double feature pick, but I picked something else.
Did I just? Okay, good.
No, unless you pick mine, I'll go back to the other side.
Okay.
But yeah, then she's haunted by her dead father and mirrors throughout, and loved ones start dying around her while she's spacing out, looking into mirrors. But yeah, Howard Vernon, like I said, plays her father, but Lumière plays an older man who falls in love with her later in the movie. Just very, very well done. Highly recommend that movie. And then a few days ago, I watched a movie that you admitted that you couldn't finish.
I tried again the other day. I was like, no, Lance finished it. I'm going to fucking do it. And then I tried. And I was like, I don't know. I don't have time for this. No, I didn't.
Oh, shit. You could.
Did it get better? I don't know. I was bored.
It got a lot better. Okay, I'm going to admit the first time. So I feel like, I don't know, I won something. I remember Puma Man. I wrote like, I watched this so you didn't have to. You're all challenge accepted. I did fall asleep for a bit, like about 30 minutes in.
Okay.
And then I woke up and I was like, wait, what's going on? And I got, I don't know. I feel like when I wake up, like when I watch movies early in the morning, I feel real rested, and I probably give them a higher rating than, anybody should. Mm-hmm. So I got really involved and into it. So I started it over and watched it straight through.
Okay.
It gets better. It's terrible acting. I mean, It is hard to watch.
Yes.
With the credits, it starts off real strong. Like kind of these blurry city lights. The music sounds good.
Yeah.
There's a dark city. It gave me like a Safdie Brothers feel. And then it just kind of gets terrible. Like it has this is a true story that took place in a Central American republic.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember that.
Yep.
Super slow. Like I said, the performances are very wooden. I've seen worse though. You know me. I find the charm.
Not selling it. I'm not going to go back and watch this now.
But it's made 24 years after The Blood Rose. So Lumiere's in it. He's very old looking at this point. He plays Inspector Badal, kind of like a commissioner.
Yeah.
With a very short fuse. He's very fun to watch. He starts yelling at people without any reason. Just a great looking inspector. He's very corrupt. And you didn't get to it, but there's a scene about this dead bus. It's called The Dead Bus, which I have to talk about. It's located in a junkyard where all these punks hang out to get high. And there was this character named Melissa who seemingly lived in the dead bus, which is filled with skulls. Like she's talking and she's leaning on all these dead skulls. And it's hinted at that these are the skulls of dead children.
Oh.
So it's explained that years ago, some bus driver was really high and he wrecked this bus, which is why it was in the junkyard. And he wrecked it while driving, and all the kids and all the children inside died, including Melissa's son.
But they don't have a flashback to show.
They don't have a flashback. I was hoping for it. But at the same time, I was like, tell me more about this dead bus.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really weird, but I stuck around for the credits, and they have Charlie Chaplin listed as assistant director, second assistant director.
That's a pseudonym then.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I looked it up on IMDb, and Chaplin's daughter Josephine is stars in this. This was actually her last film role,
okay.
which was interesting. But I was like, this is so Franco. Like, it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lumiere's also in a segment of the horror anthology Spirits of the Dead from 1968.
Yeah, I really like that film.
And so Philippe Lumiere actually committed suicide in 2004.
I know.
At the age of 77 by throwing himself under a subway in Paris.
Was
just
he,
a day after his birthday.
Was he terminally ill or something?
I didn't mention any of that when I was reading about it.
I mean, I would do that if I was terminally ill at that age. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, throw yourself under a subway?
I mean, I probably wouldn't do that.
That's a rough way.
I think I could probably figure out a less painful way to go. Yeah. I don't want to talk about this.
I mean, it's probably it's probably pretty quick, sudden, maybe, but you don't never know. You could, I don't know. But yeah, that's a terrible.
Sorry.
He was a great actor. Tons of credits. Check out all his films because I've liked everything he's been in. Then we have Howard Vernon.
Yeah.
So this is the man. He's of course playing the surgeon like he usually does in a lot of movies. He plays like the evil mad scientist professor.
He's either that or a Nazi.
Or a Nazi, yeah. Yes. And he plays Professor Romer in this. He has about 200 acting credits, and his face is very much like Boris Karloff, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The kind of bulgy eyes, the very square, defined features.
Yeah.
And when he pops up in a movie, I'm always like, hell yeah, Howard Vernon. Fuck yeah, it's going to be good. But he's probably best known for all the Jess Franco movies he pops up in. She Killed in Ecstasy, Faceless, A Virgin Among the Living Dead, The Awful Dr. Orloff, which is another Eyes Without a Face ripoff. I love his Dracula portrayals in Franco films. Daughter of Dracula. He plays Dracula or Count Karlstein.
That's a way to do the Karnstein. Like Karlstein.
Karlstein.
God bless Franco.
I know. A lot of scenes in Daughter of Dracula just have these weird transitions, just zoom-ins and quick zooms on pubic hair. Great transitions. It's a mess. My Letterboxd review was, I don't think this is how you make a movie, and I fully support it. But the short scenes alone with Vernon alone make it worth the watch.
Okay.
And of course, Franco has the regular cast of these beautiful women just running around. And he also plays Dracula in Dracula Prisoner of Frankenstein, which is another Franco. And he's caked up in this weird makeup. And he gave me the creature vibes from like Puro Mandir.
Piranha Mandir.
Piranha Mandir, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honorud Agarwal. I'll butcher his name, but
Josh can correct us later.
Yeah, he deservedly so. And his face, though, Howard Vernon's face in this Dracula makeup in Dracula Prisoner of Frankenstein just gave me that vibes. I loved it. And I always respect a movie with minimal dialogue. And this literally has maybe 15 to 17 minutes of dialogue.
Damn.
Maybe like 5 minutes total. Like it doesn't have any dialogue for the first like 20 minutes. It's a wild movie to watch.
Wow. Okay.
Not very good, but worth it. He also plays a vampire of sorts in Ogroff. Mad Mutilator.
Yes.
Howard Vernon is just
banger. Come on.
Everything he's in, you're like, fuck yeah. I mentioned that I love the other side of the movie where he plays a creepy ass father, but I watched a movie that you also watched too, and it might be one of my favorite performances of Howard Vernon, and that is The Unknown Man of Chandigarh.
Yeah,
from 1967, directed by Jean-Louis Roy.
Yeah, this was my favorite. I mean, I know I didn't watch that much for homework this week, but even if I had, this still would have probably remained my favorite watch for this. Deaf Crocodile put this out.
Yeah. Was this their first release?
I don't know if it was their first one. Okay. Ryan can correct us.
Yeah,
the one, all the things.
The movie on Tubi is the restoration.
Yeah.
It looks fucking beautiful.
But yeah, I'm going to pick this up now because Laird played this at Weird Wednesday last year. I think I missed it because I wasn't able to go. And then I'd been meaning to pick it up and I was just like, I'll get to it. And then this came up and I was like, okay, I'm finally going to watch it. But I wouldn't have received it in time to watch before this. So I didn't order it, but I am now. This was so much fun. It's just, pulpy and silly and
So much style. Like this
Yeah.
one's, I mentioned that Mulo does some disjointed stuff. This is kind of shot in weird segments where you kind of have to piece together what's happening.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing, but it's stylistically, it's like Wes Anderson's like black and white wet dream.
Right.
Like, I feel like Wes Anderson had to have watched this movie at some point, and like it just inspired him to make movies the way he does.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better than any Wes Anderson movie I've seen, though.
Yeah. 100%. I've watched a few of his movies and I'm like, yeah, okay, it's cute. I get it. But it's every single one to me is like nearly identical. And I'm like, I don't need to see any more movies from him now. That's
why Fantastic Mr. Fox is my favorite Anderson, because it is different. It's not
for sure. But yeah, there's one scene in particular where like all of the suit wearing, glasses wearing men, the four of them are seated there and they're all doing the exact same gestures at the same time while they're being given instructions.
Yeah.
That very like Wes Anderson scene to me right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And Howard Vernon plays an ex-Nazi who's now head of CIA.
Yeah. Of course he's an ex-Nazi. He can't play anything else except a Nazi or sometimes type of scientist or professor.
Yeah. I think that's why I like Shandigar so much and the Blood Rose, because it's Howard Vernon in a predominant role. And a lot of the stuff, particularly the Jess Franco, he just kind of pops up to just kind of give this creepy presence.
Yeah.
Like not a whole lot of lines of dialogue. I haven't watched a lot of his earlier films that I need to get to, like Alphaville and stuff like that. But I don't know. I love the roles where he has a huge part. And yeah, I think it's a reason why I love the Blood Rose so much too. But yeah, as I mentioned in the summary for Blood Rose, there are a lot of other characters that are important to the plot. They didn't have a whole lot of credits to cover, so not a whole lot to discuss there. But is there anybody else you wanted to chat about in the cast?
No, I did watch one other movie for Howard Vernon, though, called Terminus from 1987.
Yeah.
It's on Prime and Tubi. If you follow me on Letterboxd, you probably saw my rating and know that it's not worth watching. This movie just fucking honks. Like, it tricks you into watching it because it's got Karen Allen in it, and I love her.
Yeah,
and she's playing like, you think she's playing like some sort of Mad Max character, like you think it's some sort of post-apocalyptic film, but it's about a child robot who's in charge of some game about driving. So like she's got this big bus that she's driving.
The dead bus.
No, I wish. But it's like this computer automated big bus RV type thing that the child robot has designed and programmed. And the game is like, you have to get to his destination where she's at. And the robot kid has some motivation behind the whole game or whatever it is. But like, there's this so you know how like in newer cars, they have like the big display screen for you now, like the really obnoxious thing. I fucking hate it. But for your map or your, whatever you're listening to.
Oh, your apps, yeah.
Yeah. On this thing, they have a mouth with, like how in Clockwork Orange, they have the things to keep his eyes open. Mm-hmm. It's like they have those hooks around its mouth and it's talking
Weird.
To you.
And that's the full screen?
Siri. Yeah. Here, this is what it looks like. It's fucking disgusting.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And like, he's got the most obnoxious voice too. Like he's just the most annoying sidekick, like type character. He's like,
it's like Kit from Knight Rider.
Yeah, but really fucking annoying. And there is one scene in it though, where like so Karen Allen, here's what else sucks about this movie. Karen Allen dies early in the movie.
Dude.
Yeah. So this is why I'm telling you, so you don't fucking watch it. So then the main character becomes this guy who she met in prison and they had like a really quick, like one night stand or whatever. And he's in one scene where he's arm wrestling this like officer guy or something. And the officer makes this face that like was the highlight of the movie for me. He made like,
what in the world?
Yeah. I don't know if he's supposed to be some kind of alien.
Everything. I like how you take pictures of the screen, but it looks like it's all computer generated stuff. It looks fake. The mouth and then that.
He looks like he's extremely constipated. But yeah, anyway, Terminus fucking sucks. Fuck that movie. Don't watch it.
Does Howard Vernon have like speaking roles?
I don't even remember. I hate this movie so much. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those movies. And forget that.
And the thing is like there's there would have been an opportunity for him to be in like a scientist role, because the kid is in like some information center and there's like scientists around or what. He could have been there. And there's one guy who plays 3 different roles. Like I think he plays triplets or something like that.
Okay. Respect.
He's a recognizable face, and like one of the characters or one of the brothers he plays, I think he's in drag. I don't know, but I'm going to back up. I'm starting to make it sound like I'm trying to sell it. And I'm fucking not. This movie fucking sucks. Moving on. Don't watch Terminus.
That is the crew. That is the cast and crew of The Blood Rose. Do not watch Terminus. So The Blood Rose is, as we already mentioned, Eyes Without a Face ripoff.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm saying this right, from our Discord channel, Clockerin.
Mm-hmm.
He has an ongoing list of Eyes Without a Face ripoffs on Letterboxd.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and he posted that in Discord. Has about 14 or 15 on his list right now. If anybody has any suggestions, check out his list. I think what is his Letterboxd? Spelled Mikelhh. Check him out on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's great. But some of the films listed was one we covered on the podcast, Scalpel.
Mm-hmm.
The Mexican horror, The Witch's Mirror from 1960, which we both love.
Yes.
The Awful Dr. Orloff, obviously already mentioned. There's a film called The Murder Clinic, which I watched a few years ago. I think I watched it for a potential Giallo pick.
Okay.
And I just remember it was like, okay, it was fine.
Okay.
Faceless.
Right.
More recently is the Spanish thriller called The Skin I Live In from 2011 with Antonio Banderas.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun list. Are there any that pop in your head that might not be included, or?
I was wondering if we'd consider Mill of the Stone Women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, that totally works.
Okay. Yeah. I love that movie. I know you were a little lukewarm on it. I recommend the Arrow Blu-ray. That restoration looks phenomenal. So yeah, but
yeah, you gave me
that.
your previous copy. I appreciate that. Your DVD copy.
Yeah. Even though the Blu-ray is still much better.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
For sure.
Yeah, so Eyes Without a Face ripoff 100%. I think also the title of the movie, The Blood Rose, which is something, I like it. I really like it. But Vernon's character refers to himself as the surgeon of the underworld. And as soon as he said that, I was like, whoa, like what that
is that an AKA
missed opportunity? Movie? No, it's not. But what a title for a movie, The Surgeon of the Underworld.
Yeah.
But I like The Blood Rose because it almost sounds like a fairy tale.
Yes.
And I feel like there are so many fairy tale aspects to this movie. Like the title adds to it. The way the different characters narrate parts of their own scenes and their own story. Yeah.
And it's got like it's past, present, future. So it's kind of like the once upon a time, like in the past, this happened. And then she's sort of like the damsel in the castle where like, there's one really beautiful, not one time, a couple times where like it's nighttime and you see her in the window above, like, and it's just really like it's lit and it's like pulling back and just this like sense of isolation for her, but also like kind of terrifying. Like if you see that, it's like you kind of reminded of Psycho and things like that, like seeing mom or mother, in the in the window and yeah.
The love story is like a sweet fairy tale. How they come together and they kind of rush it, which feels very fairy tale to me because it is like the past. It's the past chapter, and again, the chapters. I'm usually not a big fan of chapters in movies. Same, Quentin Tarantino does it sometimes well, but it works really well in this because to me it adds like a fairy tale book. Yeah. Like you said, the past, the present, the future.
Yeah,
you have the beautiful chateau, and then the original score, which was by a man named Jean-Pierre Dorsey, who he doesn't have many credits, but it gave me like almost Danny Elfman, Edward Scissorhands vibes sometimes. That's
fairy tale.
It is very fairy tale. Like especially there's a scene of Anne having a dream with her new face, and she gets up out of her wheelchair and starts walking around, and it's very like Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp are kissing in the fake snow. It's. But yeah, even the helpers, Igor and Olaf, they're kind of Snow Whitey. but I guess they would be called like rapey and
Yeah, that's the thing I love about this movie though, is because you're expecting it to be some sort of fairy tale thing. It has the setting for it. It has, even like from her point of view, and I know it's because she's, basically like half burned and, her losing her vision, but like that sort of foggy vision and, the forest and all of these elements. But then you have like the two henchmen who are just like rapey, disgusting, like nonverbal, just what are cavemen basically. So you have these sort of, I don't want to call it like exploitation elements, but much more like horrific elements.
Yes.
Including the fucking the credit font, the dripping blood.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I loved that part. Yeah. So yeah, the servants are, I mean, they're treated horribly.
Yeah.
Like when Anne first meets them, she obviously screams, when Lonsac takes her to the chateau at first. And he's like, oh, I'll get rid of them. She's like, oh no, let them stay. I just wish they weren't so ugly.
Yeah. And I was like, guess who's about to get even uglier?
Yeah, exactly. Like, Karma's a bitch. But yeah, I feel like they were almost presented as like the Snow White. Like, I do feel like it was an element of fairy tale. There's not a whole lot on Mulo, and
sure,
maybe there is other extras because there are the Mondo Macabre. There's a DVD, Mondo Macabre release of this.
Yeah.
And there's a French Blu-ray out there. But I don't know what kind of the bonus features they feature, but yeah, the horror element, like you said, the dripping blood. And I thought one of the creepiest moments was when Barbara, the sister, shows up and Igor and Olaf are just like chasing her, through the forest and to the chateau.
Yeah.
Like that actually is the most unsettling scene to me. I mean, there's rape scenes and stuff that's very unsettling, but as far as like, this is kind of terrifying. That scene I thought was really creepy. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of like gore or obscene violence. So it's all about atmosphere. I like how it sticks to kind of a dramatic thriller.
Yeah.
There's a couple of humorous moments that I found, which I felt like it was one of my favorites. It's the future chapter, where basically it's where Romer and Lonsac are like, okay, let's do this. We're going to get a new face for my wife. And then it cuts to like the future chapter and it's them. It's like a humorous part of the movie where it's like a montage of interviews of beautiful faces. And I just thought, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
I love this so much. Yeah. And another thing that I love about this movie is, like I said, it sticks to like a dramatic tone, but the mysteries that are thrown our way does a great job of adding new elements. About 40 minutes in, we learn that Howard Vernon's character, Professor Romer, and we learn about his past while he sneaks into a building and takes a mold of a man's face. And it's just kind of like, whoa, what's happening now? Then almost an hour in, it jumps to Agnes's sister, Barbara, who starts playing detective to locate her sister. And then with like 20 minutes left, you get like this chief inspector that pops up.
Yeah.
And it starts throwing these weird elements of mystery and just, added subplots that really worked really well for me.
I love the design of the Institute. It's so weird. John called it like, he said it was like Owen and Aunt Beru's.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The architecture, it's kind of futuristic, but it's kind of like Tatooine bungalow.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I think one of my favorite things in this, though, is possibly one of the best murder weapons I've seen in a film. A plant.
Yes.
It's like, let's just poison this plant and be like, oh yeah, get in there and water that thing. Oops, she's dead.
It's like, get there in the heart.
Yeah. And I thought for a minute, I thought because they made such a big deal about bringing the plant into the house and like doing all this thing, I thought that was going to be, and then it was called Blood Rose. So I was like, oh, okay, does this actually bloom some kind of flower? And then is that going to be, and then I got really excited when she told the girl to, she's like, oh, get in there and water it so she could kill her and she could get pricked by the poison. And I was like, is this going to be like a motif where they're going to bring in like a new servant and she's going to get mad at her and then she's going to use the plant to kill her? And if so, I'm all for that because I love this murder weapon choice.
Yeah, I really thought the plant would have more of like a role as well, especially because it looked like at one point Howard Vernon was injecting blood into plants.
Yeah.
Which wasn't really explained. And I'm sure,
No.
He's obviously like a mad scientist, surgeon type of guy. But yeah, I mean, it is one of the best murder weapons. Like, give me more of that. And I like I said, I love the montage where they're basically interviewing caretakers or nurses or maids to take their face.
Right.
The wife Anne is kind of peeking around corners. I thought she'd be more involved. Like, I like her,
Yeah, I did too.
But do you have a face of an enemy or like a friend that you would take? Like, it's kind of easy for me, maybe, because I have a twin brother.
Yeah, you would just take your.
But I think like if that happened, Sarah would be completely grossed out with that because if she's like the spouse that wants. She's the spouse that wants to correct my face, my disfigured face.
Yeah.
She'd be like, get somebody more attractive than you and Cody.
Do they have to be living?
Well, yeah, you need living tissue.
Oh, yeah. Well, no. Oh, no.
You can take Cody's.
I don't want Cody's. I want to look like you. Christ.
Well, that'd be.
I mean, Charles thinks you're handsome, but shit.
Charles, you are not wrong.
Edwige Fenwick is still alive, so but I wouldn't want to take her from this world. So that's the problem is like anyone who I adore enough to want their face, I would not want to take them from this world. So. Yeah,
it's probably a bad question. I mean, it's tough. You wouldn't want to take anybody famous too, because then you'd be like, I don't know, but then you could live their life. But the whole premise is, I don't know. Bad question.
No, it's not a bad question. Like I was. When you said that, I was like, you could, take their life. And I was like, well, I'm going to be careful how I say this because this is recorded. But like, if I were to step into someone's shoes and I could correct all of their previous atrocities, it might be a famous author who wrote very famous children's books and is a fucking billionaire now and is just a rat turd of a person.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a terrible face. I mean,
I don't want her face though, because
I mean, she would. Yeah, that would end her. That would end her life.
Yeah,
because you're taking the living person's face and tissue. But yeah, maybe let's send her the plant.
Yeah. Okay. Howard Vernon, please.
Because I wouldn't want to walk around with that person's face.
I know, because that's the thing is I was thinking about it. I was like, well, I'd have to like basically go on this huge apology tour as this person. It
wouldn't be. I mean, if anybody can talk their way out of it, it might work. You might be able to pull it off.
I don't think I could. I don't think she's dug herself into a hole so deep. I can't. There's nothing's pulling her out. So never mind. I don't want anyone's face. Just you know what? I'm just going to throw myself in front of a train. Like
Philippe. I'd like more information on that too. Is there a movie coming out about that?
I don't know.
But yeah, some of my favorite scenes too. I kind of want to pull this screenshot. It's when it's before the fire of the costume party.
Yes.
And they're all sitting there watching a vampire movie, like a projector. And like Moira, who's the jealous, nothing really comes of that too. The jealous lover. Yeah. She just kind of disappears, which is fine. But she's like painted gold. She looks great. There's people like dressed as Dracula and just this amazing looking.
I literally took a screenshot of it because they're just like huddled around all in their costumes watching this vampire movie at a party. And I don't know if you noticed, but in the very back, there's the Crimson Executioner.
I did.
Bloody Pit of Horror.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
And he pops up like while they're talking too. He's like in the back, like all trying to get in the camera.
It's the best scene in the movie.
It is.
Not the best, but like one of the best scenes.
Yeah, I would say one of my favorite scenes. I loved all the exterior shots with the fake fog machines and stuff. Like especially when the first maid, I think her name was Anya. She's buried by Olaf and Igor. Mm-hmm. And then Lemaire's, he's bringing her out and carrying her body. But that dream sequence that Anne has where she takes bandages off her face. She has her beautiful face back. She stands up out of her wheelchair. It's a long sequence. She goes walk outside. It's nighttime. It's very gorgeous. And that dead body of Agnes rises and she has like blood all over her. It's just this very beautiful scene. Yeah. Very, very dark fairy tale feeling. And then she wakes up, it's the blurred vision. She looks over and sees her wheelchair. It goes back to like, it's very sad. Like I want Anne. She was very happy. She was a very positive person other than calling the servants ugly.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, she really turned ugly physically and personality wise.
Yeah. I mean, the accident did it to her.
Accident did it to her. But even before then, when she's just saying that shit to Olaf and Igor, or Igor, maybe, who knows?
Igor.
Yeah. I felt bad for her, but at the same time, I was kind of like, maybe you shouldn't be fucking calling people ugly then, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it does seem like it's a karma, like what goes around comes around type thing.
Yeah.
And the good thing about Igor and Olaf is they don't talk. They are kind of presented as pets, sleeping on the floor and stuff. And
when I don't know which is which, but when one of them dies at the end and the other one, he looks up and he's so sad he lost his best friend.
Yeah, so Olaf was the bald one.
Okay.
Played by Johnny Cacao. And they both and then the guy who played Igor has a one name, he's like Madonna.
Hell yeah.
He goes by Roberto.
Okay. Good for you, Roberto.
And I looked up their credits and they actually act in a few movies together, other movies.
Okay.
Nothing I had seen and could find, but they were great.
Yeah.
Little Michael Berryman. And I wanted to learn more about that filming location because, like, you know, you mentioned the interior was amazing, but the exterior, I was like, this has to be in other movies.
Yeah.
And I found where it was like, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the French chateaus. I'll kill it. But there's not a whole lot of films that I could find, you know, information on it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's maybe on the Blood Rose, like releases, there's more information, but they're gorgeous and they look like I've seen this before.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the ending. What do you think? I like how it all comes together.
Yeah.
You know, you get the inspector, the chief inspector comes in, Barbara, the sisters, and Romare Professor Romare's hanging himself, like in the other side of the mirror.
Yeah.
Igor and Olaf, they start losing their shit and attacking everyone.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a big fan of the true ending. Like when Lonsack releases Barbara and calls the police and admits to doing all the killing.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted like a Hammer horror.
Set everything on fire.
Yeah, like just give me that classic, like burn down the chateau.
I mean, this is an early film for him, so like this is, you know, wrapped up in a tight little bow type of ending, and it's fine. I'm with you though. Like I would have preferred that, you know, his life really ended when she when she fell in the bonfire.
Yes.
So let's like bring it full circle and just fucking burn the whole place down. Her, yourself, you're already dying. You know, you got impaled by spear or something.
Yeah, he does seemingly die from that wound while he's working on her final portrait.
Right. So it's like, why did he need to even call the police? Just burn everything to the ground. Like your life is already over at the first fire anyway.
Right. Yeah, I kind of wanted something, and again, I guess this is a little more fairy tale. It's like, you know, you made your own bed, and like you know, you're still in love with your wife, and that didn't make sense to me too, because he was like, as soon as the dwarfs were attacking his wife and she was losing her shit, he was like, all right, kill her. Like it's a very odd switch of character when the whole movie and his whole life is devoted to making her happy and getting the love back that they once had. But it's Claude. Yeah, you said it's Claude Mulo. It's one of his earliest films. Yeah, I like when I talked about Chuck Vincent during Deranged. I feel like Claude Mulo it's a shame. It's sad that he died at such a young age, because it is interesting to see where he could have gone, and he was going back to the more horror thriller genre. But I mean, even like Pussy Talk, like I'd never seen anything like that before. It's very artsy. Like he had great ideas, and it's a shame that he died drowning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd recommend The Blood Rose in a heartbeat. Yeah,
100%. This was really fun. Great pick. Charles had just seen it not like a month or two ago. Someone had a marathon at their house and they put this in it. So.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Did he enjoy it?
Yes, very much.
Cool. Okay, double feature pick. I think we've hinted maybe on some, but
yeah. I was initially thinking, you know, along the lines of some other like Franco movies, but then I was like, yeah, I don't want to go too Eyes Without a Face knockoff close in that realm. I thought, maybe just Howard Vernon double feature because you've got hundreds of movies to choose from. She Killed in Ecstasy also has like a disgraced doctor, although it's her husband and that's not Howard Vernon. So might not really work the same way. But I ultimately did go with one that is Eyes Without a Face adjacent, but I think it's different enough that it would still work. Like you don't feel like you're watching the same movie. And it's also a way different setting because it's, Flemish. and a movie we covered very early in the podcast, Mill of the Stone Woman from 1960.
Yes, that's a great one.
Yeah, it's, takes place in a windmill. There's a display of women, stone women, if you will, there. And there's a young man who goes there to learn more about it. And he finds out there's like this maniacal, scientist, and he's trying to keep his daughter alive through like blood transfusions. And he's got this whole laboratory set up in the basement of the windmill. It's great. Arrow has a Blu-ray of it. I highly recommend checking it out. It's probably streaming somewhere by now, but.
Nice. Yeah. I think, what was my double feature pick for that episode was The Man Who Could Cheat Death. Yeah. And then yours was the horrible Dr. Hitchcock, I believe.
Of course, because necrophilia, of course. I'm going to pick that whenever I can.
Yeah, coming out strong and early with your favorite subject.
Yes. I was like, this is what you guys are in for, okay, guys?
That's a great pick. Mill of the Stone Woman.
What about you?
I thought about Jess Franco's The Other Side of the Mirror for a Howard Vernon Hangs Himself double feature. I am picking another Franco film.
Okay.
And Howard Vernon film, which there are a lot to choose from. This one is a German horror called Castle of the Creeping Flesh from 1968.
Okay.
Also known as Castle of Bloody Lust, keeping in with the April Showers of Blood theme, directed by Adrian Hoven, co-written by Jess Franco. Howard Vernon plays this mad scientist / surgeon living in a remote castle that some partygoers stumble across. And we learn that one of the uninvited guests looks eerily like his daughter who recently died. And we find that he needs her and her other friends' bodies to attempt to bring his daughter back to life.
Okay.
So it has those similarities in bringing a loved one back to their beautiful living self. Mm-hmm. And it also has some very unfortunate rape scenes like we have in Blood Rose.
Yeah.
It uses real life footage of open heart surgery, which goes on way too long. Oh. There's too much of it. The performances, the movie, it really isn't that great. The performances aren't that great. Completely unnatural, like in every aspect. I wrote in my Letterboxd review that the whole thing feels like a dream Dale Cooper might have while staying at the Great Northern Hotel.
Okay.
Again, going back to Twin Peaks, but it'll leave you scratching your head and kind of rolling your eyes here and there, but you'll be fully intrigued. But yeah, I think it works as a double Howard Vernon as a surgeon feature.
Okay.
Yeah, Severin released this years ago, but it's on Tubi if anybody does want to watch it.
Nice. All right, that's putting the lid on April Showers of Blood.
Yeah, we're closing the jar and we're going to throw it in under a subway.
Yeah. Or drown it, who knows?
Or drown, we don't know. Maybe it'll pop up.
Maybe.
Again.
We'll see. I know Adam gave a shit for not covering an Andy Milligan movie, and I'm like, look, maybe
that's a big ask. There's a lot to talk about. It's a long episode.
That's why it took a while to get to Stuckler, because I was like, I'm not doing this without Zach.
Right.
And so a Milligan episode, I know there's plenty of other people I know who love Andy Milligan, but Jimmy McDonough literally wrote the fucking tomb on him. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah. All possibilities are open, but I don't want to promise anything. What I do want to promise though is that we are never leaving France.
Oh, we have another one? Here we go.
No, we are leaving France at some point. This is the last French movie I'm going to pick this year. I fucking promise you guys. I know you're probably sick of us mispronouncing names from French names. So, but yeah, back to France. My pick for next month is a movie called Invitation to Travel from 1982. It's more of a thriller than a horror movie, but it has a lot of things that Lance is going to appreciate, including twins.
Fuck yes.
This is on Cave of Forgotten Films under its French title. We'll have the link in show notes. We'll paste it in Discord and Twitter as well. Invitation au Voyage is what you'll find it on Cave of Forgotten Films there. So it's actually male and female twins. So it's not identical same-sex twins. The woman twin, she's a pop singer and she actually dies. She's electrocuted in a tub of milk. And her twin brother / lover stuffs her body into a cello case, straps it to the top of his car, and embarks on a road trip.
This is the best setup ever.
That's all I'm going to say about the film. If you go on Letterboxd, you'll probably see my initial review of it. I watched it last year. I gave it 3 stars, but I also, like, after I had finished watching it, I was like, okay, now that I know what this is, I think I'll like it better on a rewatch. So some of you might watch it and be like, I don't know what I just watched, but I liked it. Or you might just be like, God fucking damn it, Erica. Whatever, we can't win them all. We can't win you guys over on all of them. So, but yeah, I think I'm going to like this one a lot more on the second watch, which is a big reason why I picked it. Because I want an excuse to watch it again. And I was like, well, it's got twins, so Lance is going to be down. So
yeah. And that summary, like I said, it sells it. I have so many questions already. Yeah. What's this tub of milk? What, like, I can't wait.
Taking a bath in milk.
I guess for her skin to remain youthful.
I guess that's a thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll talk about it.
We'll figure it out together, folks, in our next episode. If you are not already, you can follow this podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors. You can follow me at Hex Massacre on Letterboxd, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yes, and follow Erica on all those channels because there's probably information coming very shortly about where to pick up the book, Sweetest Taboo. Yeah,
so by the time this episode comes out, I might still be working on shipping out to all the backers and stuff. It's a little slow moving. I'm trying to get a steady operation going over here. But yeah, follow there for updates on, where you can buy the book. Don't worry about the best way to support me. The best way to support me is to buy it from whoever is carrying it. Because I want to support small businesses. I am not selling them through Amazon because they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
I'm supporting small businesses with this. So if you can do the same, that would be great. If they sell out, they'll buy more from me. So everyone wins.
Perfect. Yeah. Everybody make sure you follow her socials.
Yeah.
And if you want to follow me, I'm El Shivey at Letterboxd.
Everyone wants to follow Lance.
And Instagram. I'll be posting nothing but pictures of Erica's book.
All right, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you back next episode for Invitation to Travel. Bye.